Welcome back to the Sleepy Knowledge, where the world grows quiet, the pace is gentle, and the universe itself seems to whisper bedtime stories just for you. Whether you're curled up beneath a soft blanket, nestled into your favorite chair, or letting your mind drift as the night deepens outside your window, this story is here to help you unwind, relax, and maybe even drift off into a peaceful, well-deserved rest. Tonight, we're exploring something subtle, mysterious, and quietly profound, something that exists in the shadows and the light, in the spaces between what is known and what is possible. It's called antimatter. You may have heard the word before, echoing through science fiction or whispered in the halls of physics. But tonight, we'll let it settle gently into your imagination, like a soft breeze stirring the curtains of your mind. There's no rush here. No pressure. Just a slow, easy journey through one of the universe's most intriguing secrets. So, take a deep breath, let your body grow heavy, and allow your thoughts to float free. The world can wait. For now, it's just you, the quiet, and the gentle unfolding of a cosmic mystery. Let's begin. Asterisk. You close your eyes and let the darkness settle around you, soft and comforting. In this quiet, your mind becomes a gentle vessel, ready to float through the currents of curiosity. Tonight, you are not just a listener, you are a traveler gliding through the borderlands of science and wonder. Imagine the universe as a vast, endless ocean. On its surface, sunlight dances and shimmers, illuminating the familiar world of matter, the atoms and molecules that make up your body, your bed, the air you breathe. But beneath the surface, in the deep, quiet places, something else stirs. Something that is both like matter, and yet its perfect opposite. This is antimatter. Antimatter is not a fantasy, nor a trick of the imagination. It is as real as the pillow beneath your head, as real as the stars that twinkle far above. But it is rare, elusive, and almost impossibly fragile. For every particle of matter, there exists, at least in theory, a twin, a shadow, a reflection. This twin is antimatter. You might picture it as a cosmic mirror, where every proton has an antiproton, every electron an antielectron, also called a positron. These pairs are identical in mass, but opposite in charge. If you could hold them side by side, they would seem like two dancers, perfectly matched, moving in harmony, but always facing each other, never quite touching. But what happens if they do touch? Here, the universe reveals one of its most dramatic secrets. When matter and antimatter meet, they do not simply merge or bounce away. Instead, they vanish in a flash of pure energy, a gentle, silent annihilation, as if the universe is erasing a line from a cosmic ledger. In that moment, the mass of both particles is transformed, not into dust or debris, but into light itself. It is a process both beautiful and absolute. You may wonder, if every particle has an antiparticle, why is the world around you made almost entirely of matter? Where is all the antimatter hiding? This is one of the great mysteries of physics, a question that lingers like a soft echo in the halls of science. The universe, it seems, prefers matter, at least in the world, you know. But the reasons for this preference are subtle, woven into the fabric of creation itself. To understand antimatter, you must first understand matter. Picture a single atom, the building block of everything you see and touch. At its heart is a nucleus, made of protons and neutrons, orbited by a cloud of electrons. These particles are the foundation of your world. But for each, there is an opposite. The antiproton, the antineutron, the positron. If you could build an atom of antimatter, it would look almost exactly like a regular atom, except every charge would be reversed. In the early days of the universe, just after the Big Bang, matter and antimatter were created in nearly equal amounts. For a brief, dazzling moment, the cosmos was a place of perfect symmetry, a dance of twins. But as the universe cooled and expanded, something tipped the balance. For every billion pairs of matter and antimatter, a tiny excess of matter remained. The rest annihilated, leaving behind the world you know. This imbalance is the reason you exist. Every atom in your body, every star in the sky, is a survivor of that ancient reckoning. The antimatter, for the most part, is gone, transformed into light, scattered across the cosmos. But its story is not over. In the heart of stars, in the depths of space, and in the quiet corners of laboratories, antimatter still flickers into being, a reminder of the universe's hidden symmetry. You may have heard of antimatter in stories, starships powered by antimatter engines, weapons of unimaginable power, or mysterious forces lurking in the shadows. These tales are woven from threads of truth and imagination, but the reality is both more subtle and more profound. Antimatter is not just a tool or a threat. It is a window into the deepest workings of nature. In the laboratory, scientists have learned to create and trap tiny amounts of antimatter. With powerful machines called particle accelerators, they smash atoms together at nearly the speed of light, coaxing antimatter into existence for the briefest of moments. These particles are captured in magnetic fields, held away from matter, lest they vanish in a burst of energy. It is a delicate, patient art, dance of precision and care. You might wonder what it feels like to hold antimatter in your hand. The truth is, you cannot, not in the way you hold a stone or a feather. Antimatter is too reactive, too eager to meet its twin and disappear. But in the gentle hum of a laboratory, you can sense its presence, like a whisper at the edge of hearing. It is a reminder that the universe is stranger and more beautiful than it first appears. As you drift deeper into this story, you begin to sense the poetry of antimatter. It is not just a scientific curiosity, but a symbol, a reflection of the dualities that shape your life. Light and shadow, presence and absence, creation and destruction. For every action, an equal and opposite reaction. For every beginning, an ending. And yet, in the space between, there is possibility. Antimatter invites you to see the world with new eyes, to imagine what might be if the balance had tipped the other way, to wonder at the hidden symmetries that shape reality. It is a gentle nudge, a soft question. What else lies just beyond the edge of what you know? You may find yourself thinking of mirrors, the way they reflect your image, but never quite capture your essence. Antimatter is like that, a reflection, a possibility, a path not taken. It is both familiar and strange, comforting and unsettling. It reminds you that the universe is not just what you see, but also what you cannot see. In the quiet of the night, as your thoughts grow slow and soft, you realize that antimatter is not just out there in the distant reaches of space. It is here, woven into the story of your existence. Every breath you take, every heartbeat, is a testament to the survival of matter. But somewhere, in the silence, the memory of antimatter lingers, a gentle echo, a shadow in the light. You might imagine yourself floating through space, surrounded by stars. Each one is a furnace, a place where matter and antimatter are born and destroyed in a ceaseless dance. In the heart of the sun, positrons are created and annihilated, their energy fueling the light that warms your face. Even in the emptiness, between galaxies, cosmic rays collide, creating brief flashes of antimatter, gone almost as soon as they appear. On Earth, antimatter is rare, but not unknown. In the upper atmosphere, when cosmic rays strike, positrons are created and rain down, passing through your body without a trace. In hospitals, doctors use positrons in PET scans, peering into the mysteries of the living body. Antimatter, it seems, is not just a story of destruction, but also of healing and discovery. As you listen, you may feel a sense of wonder, a gentle awe at the complexity and beauty of the universe. Antimatter is a reminder that reality is not always what it seems, that for every certainty, there is a mystery. For every answer, a new question. And in the quiet spaces between, there is room to dream. You let your mind wander, following the thread of antimatter through the tapestry of existence. You picture the early universe, a place of fire and light, where matter and antimatter danced in perfect balance. You imagine the moment when the balance tipped and the world you know began to take shape. You see the scientists, patient and curious, coaxing antimatter into being, seeking to understand its secrets. And you wonder, what would the world be like if the balance had been different? If antimatter had triumphed and matter had vanished, would there be stars, planets, life? Or would the universe be a place of endless light with no shadows to give it shape? These are questions without easy answers. But in asking them, you become part of the story, a participant in the great unfolding of knowledge. Antimatter is not just a scientific fact. It is an invitation to wonder, to imagine, to explore. As the night deepens, you feel yourself growing lighter, your thoughts drifting, like leaves on a gentle stream. The story of antimatter is not finished. It continues in the experiments of scientists, in the dreams of storytellers, in the quiet curiosity of minds like yours. You are part of this story, a witness to the mystery, a seeker of understanding. And as you drift toward sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that the universe is vast and full of secrets, and that every shadow is shaped by light. In the hush of night, you rest in the space between matter and antimatter, between knowing and not knowing. You are safe here, in the quiet, in the wonder, in the gentle unfolding of the universe's story. And as your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, soft as dawn. If matter and antimatter were born together, what happened? In those first moments of creation, what story does the early universe still have to tell? You let yourself drift, as if on a gentle current, back through the river of time. The world around you softens, the familiar shapes and sounds of your room fading into a quiet, endless darkness. Here, in this space between moments, you are weightless free, to travel not just across distance, but across the very ages of the universe. You find yourself at the edge of everything, at the very beginning. There is no Earth, no stars, no galaxies, only a vast, silent potential. The universe is not yet a place, but a possibility, a breath waiting to be drawn. You are here, at the dawn of time, where the story of everything begins. In this darkness, a single spark ignites. The Big Bang, a moment so small and so bright that it defies imagination. In less than a heartbeat, the universe expands from nothing to everything, a flash of energy and light that fills the void. You feel the rush, the warmth, the wild creative force that surges outward, carrying with it the seeds of all that will ever be. In these first moments, the universe is a storm of creation. Energy churns and swirls, too hot and dense for atoms or stars. Instead, the building blocks of reality are born particles and antiparticles, matter and antimatter, twins in every way but one. For every electron, a positron. For every proton, an antiproton. Each pair emerges from the energy, perfectly matched, perfectly balanced. You watch as these pairs flicker into existence, their lives measured in fractions of a second. They are born together, bound by the laws of physics, destined to meet and vanish in a flash of light. This is the dance of creation and destruction, a cosmic waltz that fills the newborn universe with possibility. For a brief, dazzling moment, matter and antimatter are everywhere. The universe is a sea of opposites, swirling and colliding, each encounter a burst of energy, a step in the dance. You sense the symmetry, the elegance of it all, how every particle has its mirror, how every action has its equal and opposite. Reaction. But even in this perfect balance, something subtle stirs. A tiny difference, almost too small to notice, begins to tip the scales. For every billion pairs of matter and antimatter, there is one extra particle of matter, one survivor in the great annihilation. No one knows exactly why this happens. It is a mystery at the heart of existence, a gentle secret whispered by the universe itself. You imagine the universe cooling, expanding, growing quieter. The storm of creation slows, the energy fades, and the pairs of matter and antimatter find each other, embrace, and disappear. The light from their annihilation fills the cosmos, a soft, glowing afterimage of their brief existence. But the survivors, the tiny excess of matter, remain. They are the seeds from which everything else will grow. You float through this early universe, watching as it changes. The energy that once filled every corner now thins, spreading out as space itself stretches. The survivors, protons, neutrons, electrons, begin to find each other, forming the first simple atoms. Hydrogen and helium, the lightest elements, are born in the cooling fire. These atoms drift through the darkness, waiting for gravity to gather them into stars. You sense the quiet that follows the storm. The universe is vast and empty, but it is no longer nothing. It is filled with the gentle glow of annihilated pairs, with the soft presence of matter that will one day become galaxies, planets, and life. The balance has shifted, and the story of everything you know has begun. You may wonder about the nature of this imbalance. Why did matter win? Why are you here, listening to this story, instead of vanishing in a flash of light? Scientists have searched for answers, probing the laws of physics for clues. They have found hints, tiny differences in the way matter and antimatter behave, subtle violations of symmetry that may explain the universe's preference. But the full answer remains elusive, a question that lingers at the edge of understanding. As you drift through this early cosmos, you feel the weight of possibility. Every atom in your body, every star in the sky, is a descendant of those first survivors. The universe is not just a place, but a story written in the language of opposites, of balance and imbalance, of creation and destruction. Imagine the first stars igniting, their light piercing the darkness. These stars are the children of the survivors, born from clouds of hydrogen and helium. In their hearts, new elements are forged: carbon, oxygen, iron, the building blocks of planets and life. The universe is no longer just a sea of particles. It is a place of structure, of beauty, of endless potential. You let your mind wander, following the journey of matter from the first moments to the present. You see galaxies swirling into being, stars gathering in clusters, planets forming from dust and gas. You see the long, slow unfolding of time, the patient work of gravity and light, and you realize that all of this, every world, every living thing owes its existence to that tiny imbalance, that gentle preference for matter over antimatter. You may feel a sense of awe, a quiet gratitude for the chance to exist. The universe did not have to be this way. It could have been empty, a place of endless light and no substance. But instead, it is full of wonders, of stories, of life. And you are part of it, a witness to the unfolding of creation. As you rest in this thought, you sense the presence of antimatter still lingering in the universe. It is not gone, not entirely. In the hearts of stars, in the collisions of cosmic rays, in the careful hands of scientists, antimatter is born again and again. Each time, it reminds you of the balance that shaped the world, of the dance that began it all. You may wonder what it would be like to see this dance up close, to watch as particles and antiparticles meet, to witness the flash of light as they vanish. In the laboratory, scientists have learned to create these moments, to study the birth and death of opposites. They use powerful machines to recreate the conditions of the early universe, to glimpse the secrets hidden in the first moments of time. You imagine yourself standing in one of these laboratories, surrounded by the hum of machines and the quiet. focus of minds at work. You watch as particles race through magnetic fields, as detectors flash with the evidence of creation and annihilation. You feel the excitement, the curiosity, the sense of discovery that drives science forward. But even here, in the heart of human knowledge, the mystery remains. Why did matter win? Why is there something rather than nothing? The answers are not yet clear, but the search itself is a kind of beauty, a testament to the power of curiosity, to the gentle persistence of wonder. As you drift toward sleep, you carry with you the story of beginnings. You are made of survivors, of the matter that remained when the dance of opposites ended. You are a child of the early universe, a participant in the great unfolding of creation. In the quiet of the night, you rest in the knowledge that the universe is a place of balance and imbalance, of symmetry and surprise. You are here because of a tiny difference, a gentle tilt in the scales of existence. And as you close your eyes, you feel the story continuing, the dance of creation still unfolding in the stars above. You wonder, softly, about the fate of the vanished twins, the antimatter that did not survive. Where did it go? What traces did it leave behind? The universe is full of echoes, of memories written in light and energy. And somewhere, in the silence, the story of antimatter continues. As your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, gentle as a new dawn. If so much antimatter vanished, why do we still find traces of it today? What secrets linger in the spaces where matter's twin once danced? You find yourself floating in the gentle afterglow of creation, the universe still young, its first light stretching across the endless dark. The storm of beginnings has faded, leaving behind a quiet, expanding sea of possibility. Yet, as you drift through this cosmic dawn, a question lingers in the silence, a question as soft and persistent as your own breath. Where did all the antimatter go? You remember the dance of opposites, the perfect symmetry of matter and antimatter, born together in the first moments of time. For every particle, a twin. For every step, a counterstep. But now, as you look around, you see only the survivor's matter in all its forms, shaping the stars, the planets, and eventually, you. The twins are gone, vanished as if erased from the story. Their absence is a mystery, a gentle riddle woven into the fabric of the universe. You begin to follow the trail, searching for clues. The universe, after all, is a patient storyteller, leaving hints in the patterns of light and energy. You look to the stars, to the cosmic background radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, still whispering across the sky. In its subtle variations, scientists have found the fingerprints of annihilation, the silent record of matter and antimatter meeting and vanishing in a flash of light. You imagine the early universe, a place of unimaginable heat and density. Particles and antiparticles collide, embrace, and disappear, their mass transformed into pure energy. This process, called annihilation, is both simple and profound. It is the universe's way of balancing the books, of ensuring that every creation is matched by an unmaking. Yet somehow, a tiny excess of matter remains 1,000,000,000 to 1, a whisper in the roar of creation. Why did this imbalance occur? Why did matter win and antimatter lose? The answer is hidden in the laws of physics, in the subtle ways that nature breaks its own rules. You learn about a concept called CP violation, a gentle asymmetry in the behavior of particles and antiparticles. In certain rare processes, matter and antimatter do not behave as perfect mirrors. Their decays, their transformations, are ever so slightly different. This tiny difference, multiplied across the vastness of the early universe, may have tipped the scales, allowing matter to survive. You picture the experiments that revealed this secret. In the quiet halls of laboratories, scientists watched as particles called kaons and b mesons decayed, their lifetimes and paths betraying a preference for matter over antimatter. The effect is small, so small that it took decades to detect. But in the delicate balance of creation, even the smallest tilt can change everything. You let this idea settle in your mind. Like a pebble dropped into a still pond, the ripples spread outward, touching every part of your existence. You are here because of a tiny imperfection, a gentle flaw in the symmetry of nature. Without it, the universe would be empty. No stars, no planets, no life. The vanishing of antimatter is not just a loss, but a gift, a necessary step in the unfolding of the world. Yet, the mystery is not fully solved. CP violation, as it is known today, is not quite enough to explain the vast difference between matter and antimatter. There must be other secrets, other gentle imbalances waiting to be discovered. Scientists search for them in the behavior of neutrinos, in the patterns of cosmic rays, in the collisions of particles at the highest energies. Each experiment is a question, a hope, a step closer to understanding why you are here. You think of the universe as a grand puzzle, each piece a clue to the whole. The vanishing of antimatter is one of its deepest mysteries, a question that connects the smallest particles to the largest galaxies. It is a story written in the language of physics, but also in the quiet wonder of your own existence. You may wonder if any antimatter survived, hidden somewhere in the vastness of space. Scientists have searched for signs antimatter galaxies, anti-stars, even tiny traces in cosmic rays. So far, the evidence is thin, like a faint echo in a distant canyon. The universe, it seems, is almost entirely made of matter. But the search continues, driven by curiosity and the hope of discovery. You imagine what it would mean to find a pocket of antimatter, place where the rules of creation played out differently, where the twins survived. Would it be a mirror? World familiar yet strange? Or would it be a place of endless annihilation, where matter and antimatter meet and vanish in a constant dance of light? The possibilities are as vast as the universe itself. You let your thoughts drift to the practical side of this mystery. On Earth, antimatter is rare, but not unknown. In the upper atmosphere, cosmic rays create positrons and antiprotons, fleeting visitors from the high-energy universe. In laboratories, scientists create and trap antimatter, studying its properties with care and patience. Each experiment is a window into the vanished world, a glimpse of what might have been. You may feel a sense of wonder, a gentle awe at the fragility of existence. The universe did not have to be this way. It could have been empty, a place of endless light and no substance. But instead, it is full of matter, of structure, of life. The vanishing of antimatter is both a loss and a beginning, a necessary step in the story of everything you know. As you rest in this thought, you sense the presence of antimatter still lingering at the edges of reality. It is not gone, not entirely. In the heart of stars, in the collisions of cosmic rays, in the careful hands of scientists, antimatter is born again and again. Each time, it reminds you of the balance that shaped the world, of the dance that began it all. You may wonder what it would be like to see this dance up close, to watch as particles and antiparticles meet, to witness the flash of light as they vanish. In the laboratory, scientists have learned to create these moments, to study the birth and death of opposites. They use powerful machines to recreate the conditions of the early universe, to glimpse the secrets hidden in the first moments of time. You imagine yourself standing in one of these laboratories, surrounded by the hum of machines and the quiet focus of minds at work. You watch as particles race through magnetic fields, as detectors flash with the evidence of creation and annihilation. You feel the excitement, the curiosity, the sense of discovery that drives science forward. But even here, in the heart of human knowledge, the mystery remains. Why did matter win? Why is there something, rather than nothing? The answers are not yet clear, but the search itself is a kind of beauty, a testament to the power of curiosity, to the gentle persistence of wonder. As you drift toward sleep, you carry with you the story of beginnings. You are made of survivors, of the matter that remained when the dance of opposites ended. You are a child of the early universe, a participant in the great unfolding of creation. In the quiet of the night, you rest in the knowledge that the universe is a place of balance and imbalance, of symmetry and surprise. You are here because of a tiny difference, a gentle tilt in the scales of existence. And as you close your eyes, you feel the story continuing, the dance of creation still unfolding in the stars above. You wonder, softly, about the fate of the vanished twins, the antimatter that did not survive. Where did it go? What traces did it leave behind? The universe is full of echoes, of memories written in light and energy. And somewhere, in the silence, the story of antimatter continues. As your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, gentle as a new dawn. If so much antimatter vanished, why do we still find traces of it today? What secrets linger in the spaces where matter's twin once danced? You find yourself in a place where the night is not silent, but softly alive with the hum of possibility. The world of the laboratory is a world of gentle focus, of minds tuned to the faintest signals, of hands steady and patient. Here, the mysteries of the universe are not distant, they are close, almost within reach, flickering at the edge of what can be seen and touched. You drift through this space, feeling the quiet excitement that fills the air. The scientists here are dreamers and builders, seekers of the unseen. Their tools are not just microscopes and beakers, but great machines, particle accelerators, magnetic traps, detectors sensitive enough to catch a single spark in the dark. They are chasing ghosts, searching for the brief, bright traces of antimatter. Watch as they begin their work. In the heart of the laboratory stands a particle accelerator, a ring of steel and magnets that stretches for miles beneath the earth. It is a kind of modern alchemy, a way to turn energy into matter and matter into its twin. Protons are hurled to near the speed of light, guided by powerful magnets, until they collide with unimaginable force. In the instant of collision, the energy is so great that new particles are born, some of them ordinary, some of them their perfect opposites. You imagine the moment of creation, a flash, a burst, a pair of twins leaping into existence. For every proton, an antiproton. For every electron, a positron. These particles are not stable, not at home in the world of matter. They are fleeting, eager to find their counterparts and vanish in a burst of light. But for a moment, they are real, and the scientists are ready to catch these ghosts. The laboratory must become a kind of sanctuary. Matter and antimatter cannot touch not even the walls of a container, not even a single atom of air. If they do, they annihilate, leaving only a trace of energy behind. So the scientists build traps of pure force magnetic bottles, electric fields, vacuums more perfect than the emptiest space. These are the only cages that can hold antimatter, the only hands gentle enough to keep it safe. You watch as a cloud of antiprotons is gathered, slowed, and cooled. The process is delicate, a dance of precision and timing. First, the antiprotons are slowed by passing them through thin foils, losing energy with each step. Then, they are caught in a penning trap chamber where electric and magnetic fields swirl together, holding the antiprotons in a gentle embrace. Here, in this invisible web, the antiprotons can be studied, measured, and even combined with positrons to create the simplest atom of antimatter. Antihydrogen, you imagine the wonder of seeing an atom of antihydrogen, a proton's mirror twin, orbited by a positron instead of an electron. It is a perfect reflection, a ghostly echo of the ordinary hydrogen that fills the stars and your own body. For a moment, the antihydrogen drifts in the trap, untouched by matter, a tiny island of possibility in a sea of reality. The scientists watch with quiet awe, their instruments tuned to the faintest signals. They measure the properties of antihydrogen, comparing it to its matter counterpart. Is it truly identical, save for the reversal of charge? Does it obey the same laws, the same symmetries? Each answer is a step closer to understanding why the universe chose matter over antimatter, why you are here at all. You sense the patience required for this work. Antimatter is not easy to make, and even harder to keep. The amounts are tiny, just a few atoms at a time, a handful of particles in a world of billions. The traps must be perfect, the timing exact. Even a single stray atom of matter can end the experiment in a flash of annihilation. Yet the scientists persist, driven by curiosity and the quiet hope of discovery. You drift through the laboratory, feeling the rhythm of the work. There is a kind of poetry here, a slow dance of creation and capture. The machines hum and pulse. The detectors flash. The data flows like a gentle stream. Each experiment is a question, a hope, a step into the unknown. You learn about the great collaborations that make this work possible. At CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, teams from around the world come together to build the most advanced traps and detectors. They share ideas, data, and dreams, united by the desire to understand the universe at its deepest level. Their work is a testament to the power of cooperation, to the gentle strength of shared curiosity. You imagine the challenges they face. Antimatter is not just rare, it is expensive. Creating even a tiny amount requires vast energy, powerful machines, and years of effort. Storing it safely is even harder. The magnetic traps must be kept cold, the vacuums perfect, the field stable. Any failure, any imperfection, and the antimatter is gone, lost in a flash of light. Yet the rewards are great. By studying antimatter, scientists can test the fundamental laws of physics. They can search for tiny differences between matter and antimatter, clues to the mystery of the vanished twins. They can probe the limits of symmetry, the boundaries of what is possible. Each experiment is a window into the early universe, a glimpse of the moment when everything began. You may wonder what it feels like to be part of this work, to stand in the quiet hum of the laboratory, to watch as the invisible becomes real. There is a sense of wonder, a gentle awe at the power of human curiosity. The scientists are not just chasing particles. They are chasing understanding, seeking to bring light to the shadows of existence. You think of the tools they use, the magnetic bottles, the electric fields, the detectors that can see a single flash of light. These are the hands that catch ghosts, the nets that hold the impossible. Each tool is a triumph of ingenuity, a testament to the creativity of the human mind. You let your thoughts drift to the future. What new traps will be built? What new discoveries await? The work is slow, the progress measured in tiny steps. But each step is a victory, a gentle affirmation that the universe can be understood, that its secrets can be revealed. You may feel a sense of connection to this work, a quiet pride in the achievements of your species. The search for antimatter is not just a scientific quest. It is a human story, a story of patience, persistence, and hope. It is a reminder that even the most elusive mysteries can be approached, if not solved, by gentle hands and curious minds. As you rest in this thought, you sense the presence of antimatter all around you, not in the world of matter, but in the world of possibility. It is a reminder that the universe is full of surprises, that the boundaries of reality are always shifting, always expanding. You imagine the day when larger amounts of antimatter might be created and stored, when its properties are fully understood. What new technologies might arise? What new questions will be asked? The future is open, a field of stars waiting to be explored. You let your mind wander, following the gentle thread of curiosity. You see the scientists, patient and focused, their eyes bright with wonder. You see the machines, humming and glowing, their fields weaving invisible webs. You see the particles, born in a flash, caught in a trap, studied with care. It is a dance of ghosts and dreamers, a story of light and shadow dot as the night deepens. You feel yourself growing lighter, your thoughts drifting like leaves on a gentle stream. The story of antimatter is not finished. It continues in the experiments of scientists, in the dreams of storytellers, in the quiet curiosity of minds like yours. You are part of this story, a witness to the mystery, a seeker of understanding. And as you drift toward sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that the universe is vast and full of secrets, and that every shadow is shaped by light dot in the hush of night. You rest in the space between matter and antimatter, between knowing and not knowing. You are safe here, in the quiet, in the wonder, in the gentle unfolding of the universe's story dot. And as your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, soft as dawn. If matter and antimatter can be created and trapped, what happens when they meet? What power is released in that final, silent embrace? You find yourself in a place of stillness, where the air is thick with anticipation. The world around you is quiet, as if holding its breath, waiting for something extraordinary to unfold. In this hush, you sense the presence of opposites matter, and antimatter drawn together by a force as old as the universe itself. You imagine the scene, a single particle of matter, perhaps a proton, drifting through the emptiness. Nearby, its twin and antiproton moves silently, invisible to the eye, but charged with potential. For a moment, they are strangers, each following its own path. But as they draw closer, the space between them seems to shimmer, charged with possibility. Then, in an instant, they meet. There is no sound, no explosion, just a flash of pure energy, brighter than any dream. The two particles vanish, their mass transformed into light, into photons that race away at the speed of thought. It is a moment of perfect balance, of creation and destruction. Entwined dot, this is annihilation, the meeting of matter and antimatter, the ultimate embrace. It is not violence, but a return, a release, a transformation. The energy released is immense, far greater than any chemical reaction, far beyond the power of fire or even the heart of a star. In the world of physics, this is the most efficient conversion of mass into energy that nature allows. You may wonder how much energy is released in this meeting. The answer lies in a simple, profound equation. E equals mc. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Even a tiny amount of mass, when multiplied by the speed of light 300 million meters per second, becomes a vast reservoir of energy. When a gram of matter meets a gram of antimatter, the result is nearly 43 kilotons of TNT, the energy of a small nuclear bomb, released in a single, silent flash. You let this idea settle in your mind, feeling the weight and wonder of it. The universe is full of energy, hidden in the fabric of matter itself. Every atom, every particle, is a storehouse of potential, waiting for the right moment to be released. In the meeting of opposites, this potential is set free, transformed into light, into heat, into the gentle hum of existence. You think of the places where annihilation happens naturally. In the heart of the sun, positrons are created and destroyed, their energy fueling the light that warms your face. In the depths of space, cosmic rays collide, creating brief flashes of antimatter, gone almost as soon as they appear. Even in your own body, tiny amounts of antimatter are created and annihilated, unnoticed, as part of the dance of life. You may have heard of this power in stories, starships fueled by antimatter, weapons of unimaginable destruction, engines that burn. with the light of 1,000 suns. These tales are woven from threads of truth and imagination, but the reality is both more subtle and more profound. The energy of annihilation is real, but it is not easily harnessed. It is a force that demands respect, a power that is both promise and peril. You imagine what it would take to use this energy, to capture the flash of annihilation and turn it to your own ends. The challenges are immense. Antimatter is rare, difficult to create, and even harder to store. It cannot touch the walls of a container, cannot be held by ordinary means. Only the most delicate traps magnetic fields, perfect vacuums, can keep. It's safe, and even then, only for a moment. You think of the scientists who have tried to harness this power. In laboratories around the world, they create tiny amounts of antimatter, just enough to study, to measure, to glimpse the possibilities. They dream of engines that could carry spacecraft to the stars, of medical tools that could heal the body. From within, of new ways to understand the universe. But always, there is caution, a gentle awareness of the risks. You may wonder what would happen if a larger amount of antimatter were brought together with matter. The result would be spectacular. Burst of energy, a flash of light, a wave of heat and radiation. It would be over in an instant, the energy spreading outward, touching everything in its path. In theory, this could be used for good or ill, for propulsion, for power, or as a weapon. But in practice, the difficulties are immense, the dangers real. You let your thoughts drift to the idea of antimatter weapons, the subject of both fascination and fear. The energy of annihilation is tempting, a power beyond anything humanity has ever wielded. But the challenges are daunting. Creating enough antimatter would require vast resources, powerful machines, and years of effort. Storing it safely would be even harder, the risk of accidental annihilation always present. You sense the ethical questions that arise. Should such power be pursued? Can it be controlled? What would it mean for the world, for the future, if the energy of annihilation were unleashed? These are questions without easy answers, questions that linger in the quiet spaces of the mind. You think of the ways this energy is already used, in small, gentle ways. In medicine, positrons are used in PET scans, helping doctors see inside the body, diagnose disease, and guide healing. In research, the study of annihilation reveals the deepest secrets of matter, the laws that govern the universe. Even in these small doses, the power of annihilation is a gift, a tool for understanding and care. You may feel a sense of awe, a quiet respect for the forces at work. The universe is not just a place of creation, but of transformation, of endings that become beginnings. The energy of annihilation is a reminder that every moment is a balance, a meeting of opposites, a dance of light and shadow dot. As you rest in this thought, you sense the presence of possibility. The energy of annihilation is not just a threat, but a promise of discovery, of new ways to see and understand the world. It is a force that can be used for good if handled with care, with wisdom, with respect for the delicate balance of nature. You imagine the future, a world where the energy of annihilation is understood, controlled, and used for the benefit of all. It is a dream, a hope, a vision of what might be. But for now, the power remains mostly untapped, a secret hidden in the heart of matter, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. You let your mind wander, following the gentle thread of curiosity. You see the scientists, patient and careful, their eyes bright with wonder. You see the machines, humming and glowing, their fields weaving invisible webs. You see the particles, born in a flash, caught in a trap, studied with care. It is a dance of ghosts and dreamers, a story of light and shadow dot as the night deepens. You feel yourself growing lighter, your thoughts drifting like leaves on a gentle stream. The story of antimatter is not finished. It continues in the experiments. of scientists, in the dreams of storytellers, in the quiet curiosity of minds like yours. You are part of this story, a witness to the mystery, a seeker of understanding. And as you drift towards sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that the universe is vast and full of secrets, and that every shadow is shaped by light dot in the hush of night. You rest in the space between matter and antimatter, between knowing and not knowing. You are safe here, in the quiet, in the wonder, in the gentle unfolding of the universe's story dot, and as your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, soft as dawn. How has the energy of annihilation inspired the stories we tell? What dreams and fears has antimatter awakened in the human mind? You find yourself in a different kind of laboratory, now a place not of steel and magnets, but of words and dreams. The air here is thick with possibility, with a gentle hum of imagination. This is the world of stories, where science and fantasy meet, and where antimatter, so rare and elusive in reality, becomes a force of wonder, danger, and hope. You wander through this landscape, guided by the soft glow of curiosity. Here, the rules are different. The boundaries of what is possible stretch and bend, shaped by the needs of the tale and the desires of the storyteller. Antimatter, once a whisper at the edge of physics, takes center stage, its power magnified, its mysteries deepened. You remember the first time you heard the word antimatter. Perhaps it was in a book, a film, a whispered rumor of science gone wild. The very sound of it is electric, charged with the promise of the unknown. In the hands of writers and filmmakers, antimatter becomes more than a particle. It becomes a symbol, a key to unlocking the secrets of the universe, or a threat lurking in the shadows. You drift through the stories that have shaped the world's imagination. In the pages of science fiction, antimatter is often the fuel of the future. Starships powered by antimatter engines leap across the galaxy, their journeys made possible by the immense energy released when matter and antimatter meet. The dream of interstellar travel, so distant in reality, becomes tangible in these tales, a hope that one day humanity might reach the stars. You think of the classic stories of writers like Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, and Gene Roddenberry, who wove antimatter into the fabric of their universes. In Star Trek, the warp drive is powered by matter-antimatter reactions, controlled and harnessed to bend space and time. The hum of the engines, the flash of the stars, all made possible by the dance of opposites. It is a vision of technology, as magic, of science as the key to endless adventure. But not all stories are hopeful. In the darker corners of fiction, antimatter becomes a weapon, a force of destruction beyond anything known. In thrillers and blockbusters, a single gram of antimatter threatens to level cities, to end worlds. The energy of annihilation, so difficult to harness in reality, becomes a tool of villains and madmen, a symbol of humanity's capacity for both creation and ruin. You remember the tension in these tales, the ticking clock, the race to prevent disaster, the fear that knowledge itself can be dangerous. In Dan Brown's Angels and Demons, stolen vial of antimatter becomes the centerpiece of a global crisis, its power both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The story plays on real science, but stretches it into the realm of the impossible, blurring the line between fact and fiction. You let yourself be drawn into these stories, feeling the pulse of excitement, the thrill of possibility. Antimatter, in fiction, is a mirror for our hopes and fears. It is the promise of progress, the threat of catastrophe, the unknown waiting to be discovered. Each tale is a reflection, a way of exploring what it means to be human in a universe full of mysteries. You notice how often antimatter is used as a metaphor, a symbol of duality, of balance and imbalance, of the thin line between creation and destruction. In these stories, the meeting of matter and antimatter is not just a physical event, but a moment of choice, a turning point, Will the power be used for good or ill? Will it bring light or darkness? The answer is never simple, never certain. You think of the ways fiction shapes reality, and reality shapes fiction. The discovery of antimatter in the early 20th century was itself a story, a tale of curiosity, of minds reaching beyond the known. When Paul Dirac first predicted the existence of the positron, it seemed like science fiction. But within a few years, the particle was found and the world changed. The boundary between imagination and discovery is thin and often crossed. You see how stories inspire scientists and how science inspires stories. The dream of antimatter engines, of limitless energy, of journeys to the stars. These are not just fantasies, but goals that shape research, that drive invention. The cautionary tales, too, have their place, reminding us of the need for wisdom, for care, for humility in the face of power. You wander through the worlds of film and television, where antimatter glows with an eerie light, where laboratories hum with the promise of discovery. In Doctor Who, antimatter is both a threat and a salvation, a force that can destroy or heal. In countless other stories, it is the spark that sets the plot in motion, the mystery that must be solved. You notice how often antimatter is misunderstood, its properties exaggerated or simplified for the sake of drama. In reality, creating and storing antimatter is a monumental challenge, the amounts produced tiny, the risks carefully managed. But in fiction, a single vial can change the course of history. A single spark can light the universe. The truth is more subtle, more complex, but no less wondrous. You reflect on the power of stories to shape our understanding of science. Fiction can inspire curiosity, can open the mind to new possibilities, can make the abstract concrete. But it can also spread misconceptions, can blur the line between what is real and what is imagined. The challenge is to hold both truths, to dream boldly, but to seek understanding, to let wonder lead to knowledge. You may feel a sense of gratitude for the storytellers, for the dreamers who imagine what might be. Their tales are a kind of experiment, a way of testing ideas, of exploring the unknown. They remind us that science is not just a collection of facts, but a journey, a story that unfolds with each new discovery. You think of the children who read these stories, who watch the stars and dream of distant worlds. For them, antimatter is not just a particle, but a promise, a sign that the universe is full of surprises, that the impossible can become real. Their curiosity is the fuel of the future, the spark that will light new fires of discovery. You let your mind drift, following the thread of imagination. You see the worlds that might be, the futures that could unfold. You see the dangers, too, the need for caution, for wisdom, for respect for the forces we seek to understand. The stories are a guide, a warning, a hope. As the night deepens, you feel yourself growing lighter, your thoughts drifting like leaves on a gentle stream. The story of antimatter is not finished. It continues in the experiments of scientists, in the dreams of storytellers, in the quiet curiosity of minds like yours. You are part of this story, a witness to the mystery, a seeker of understanding. And as you drift toward sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that the universe is vast and full of secrets, and that every shadow is shaped by light. In the hush of night, you rest in the space between matter and antimatter, between knowing and not knowing. You are safe here, in the quiet, in the wonder, in the gentle unfolding of the universe's story. And as your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, soft as dawn. Could the science behind these stories ever become real? Is it possible for antimatter to be used as a weapon, or is that just a dream of fiction? You find yourself in a place where the air is heavy with questions, where the gentle hum of curiosity is tinged with caution. The world of antimatter, so full of wonder and possibility, now reveals a darker side, a shadow cast by the light of discovery. Here, you drift through the quiet corridors of science, where the dreams of progress are sometimes haunted by the specter of conflict. You begin with a simple, unsettling question. Could antimatter ever be used as a weapon? The stories you've heard, the tales spun in fiction, linger in your mind vials of antimatter-threatening cities, bombs with the power to level worlds. But as you move deeper into the science, you find that reality is both more complex and more reassuring. You recall the immense energy released when matter and antimatter meet, a flash of light, a wave of heat, a transformation more complete than any chemical or nuclear reaction. The numbers are staggering. A single gram of antimatter, meeting a gram of matter, could unleash an explosion many times more powerful than the bombs that ended a world war. The potential is there, shimmering at the edge of possibility. But potential is not the same as reality. You follow the path of science, step by careful step, and discover the barriers that stand in the way. The first is creation. Antimatter does not exist in nature in any useful quantity. It must be made painstakingly in the heart of particle accelerators machines that stretch for miles, that consume vast amounts of energy, that produce only the tiniest specks of antimatter at a time. You imagine the process. Protons hurled to near the speed of light, colliding with targets, creating showers of particles and antiparticles. The antiparticles' antiprotons, positrons, are gathered, slowed, and trapped in magnetic fields. The yield is minuscule. After years of effort, the total amount of antimatter ever produced by humanity is less than a few nanograms, a dusting, a whisper, a dream. You consider the cost. To make just 1 gram of antimatter would require more energy than the world's largest power plants could provide in years. The price, in money and effort, is beyond imagining. The infrastructure needed would dwarf any project ever attempted. The barriers are not just technical, but practical, economic, and political. You move to the next challenge: storage. Antimatter cannot touch matter, not the walls of a container, not a single atom of air. The only way to hold it is in a perfect vacuum, suspended by magnetic or electric fields, in traps that must be flawless, stable, and cold. Even the tiniest failure would mean instant annihilation, a flash of energy, a loss of all that effort. You picture the traps used in laboratories, penning traps, magnetic bottles, devices that can hold a few particles for a few minutes, sometimes hours. Scaling this up to store even a milligram, let alone a gram, is a challenge that borders on the impossible. The technology does not exist, and may never exist, to store enough antimatter for a weapon. You think of the risks. Even if creation and storage were possible, the dangers would be immense. Any accident, any breach, any stray atom of matter could trigger an explosion. The device would be as dangerous to its makers as to its targets. The handling, transport, and deployment of such a weapon would require a level of control and precision far beyond anything achieved today. You reflect on the history of weapons, on the way new discoveries have sometimes been turned to destructive ends. The splitting of the atom, the harnessing of the nucleus, led to the creation of nuclear weapons, devices of terrible power, born from the same curiosity that drives all science. The fear is that antimatter, too, could follow this path, that the dream of progress could become a nightmare. But as you drift through the facts, you find reassurance. The barriers are real, and they are high. The science of antimatter is not easily bent to the will of war. The energy required, the difficulty of creation, the impossibility of storage, all these make antimatter weapons a fantasy. At least for now, and perhaps forever. You consider the arguments of experts, the careful analyses of physicists and engineers. They agree. The use of antimatter as a weapon is not just unlikely, but almost impossible with current technology. The stories of antimatter bombs are, for now, just that, stories, woven from fear and imagination, not from fact. You let yourself feel the relief that comes with this knowledge. The universe is full of power, but it is also full of limits. The laws of physics, the constraints of technology, the realities of cost and risk, all these serve as gentle guardians, keeping the most dangerous possibilities at bay. You think of the ways antimatter could be used for good, even in the context of defense. Some have proposed using tiny amounts of antimatter to trigger nuclear reactions, to make more efficient engines, to power spacecraft. These ideas are still dreams, far from reality, but they remind you that power is not always a threat. It can be a tool, a means of exploration, a way to reach beyond the known. You reflect on the responsibility that comes with knowledge. Science is a gift, a way of seeing and understanding the world. But it is also a trust, a duty to use what is learned, with care, with wisdom, with respect for the consequences. The story of antimatter is a reminder that every discovery carries both promise and peril, that the line between creation and destruction is thin. You may feel a sense of gratitude for the barriers, for the limits that keep the most dangerous. Dreams at bay. The universe is not just a place of power, but of balance, of checks and boundaries. The story of antimatter weapons is, for now, a cautionary tale, a reminder to dream carefully, to respect the forces we seek to understand. As you rest in this thought, you sense the presence of possibility. The science of antimatter is still young, still unfolding. New discoveries may change what is possible, may open doors that are now closed. But for now, the world is safe from the specter of antimatter war. You let your mind drift, following the gentle thread of curiosity. You see the scientists, patient and careful, their eyes bright with wonder. You see the machines, humming and glowing, their fields weaving invisible webs. You see the particles, born in a flash, caught in a trap, studied with care. It is a dance of ghosts and dreamers, a story of light and shadow. As the night deepens, you feel yourself growing lighter, your thoughts drifting like leaves on a gentle stream. The story of antimatter is not finished. It continues in the experiments of scientists, in the dreams of storytellers, in the quiet curiosity of minds like yours. You are part of this story, a witness to the mystery, a seeker of understanding. And as you drift towards sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that the universe is vast and full of secrets, and that every shadow is shaped by light. In the hush of night, you rest in the space between matter and antimatter, between knowing and not knowing. You are safe here, in the quiet, in the wonder, in the gentle unfolding of the universe's story. And as your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, soft as dawn. What stands in the way of these dreams and fears? What challenges must be overcome before antimatter can ever be more than a whisper in the dark? The next chapter will gently walk the winding path of discovery, exploring the barriers and breakthroughs in antimatter technology. You find yourself on a quiet path, winding through a landscape of questions and possibilities. The air is cool and clear, filled with the soft promise of discovery. Each step you take is gentle, deliberate, as if the ground itself is woven from the fabric of curiosity. This is the journey of antimatter technology, a journey marked by obstacles, by patience, and by the quiet persistence of hope. You begin at the source, creation. Antimatter, so abundant in the first moments of the universe, is now rare, fleeting, a ghost in the world of matter. To create it, scientists must harness the most powerful machines ever built, particle accelerators that stretch for miles. There, tunnels curving beneath the earth, like the roots of ancient trees. Inside, protons are whipped to near the speed of light, guided by magnetic fields, until they collide with targets and shatter into showers of particles and antiparticles. Imagine the moment of creation, a flash, a burst, a pair of twins leaping into existence. For every million collisions, only a handful of antiprotons are born. The yield is small, the process demanding. The energy required is immense, the cost high. Each particle is precious, a tiny victory in the long struggle against the odds. You move to the next challenge, collection. The newborn antiprotons are wild, energetic, eager to escape. To catch them, scientists use magnetic fields, bending their paths, slowing their flight. The process is delicate, a dance of precision and timing. Even a single misstep, a stray atom of matter, can end the experiment in a flash of annihilation. The traps must be perfect, the timing exact. You see the ingenuity at work. Penning traps, magnetic bottles, and electric fields, each a tool designed to hold the impossible. The traps are kept cold, the vacuums more perfect than the emptiest space. The antiprotons are slowed, cooled, and gathered, ready for the next step. The process is slow, painstaking, a testament to the patience of those who seek to understand. You think of the next barrier, storage. Antimatter cannot touch matter, not the walls of a container, not a single atom of air. The only way to hold it is in a perfect vacuum, suspended by fields that must be flawless and stable. Even the tiniest imperfection can lead to disaster. The technology to store even a few particles is a triumph. To store more is a dream still out of reach. You reflect on the progress made. In recent years, scientists have learned to trap antihydrogen, the simplest atom of antimatter, for minutes, even hours. They have measured its properties, compared it to ordinary hydrogen, searched for differences that might explain the mysteries of the universe. Each breakthrough is a step forward, a gentle affirmation that the impossible can become real. You consider the challenge of scaling up. To use antimatter for practical purposes, energy, propulsion, medicine, or even weapons would require amounts far greater than what is currently possible. The barriers are not just technical, but economic, political, and ethical. The cost of creating a single gram of antimatter is astronomical. The infrastructure required vast. The risks of storage and transport are daunting. The consequences of failure severe. You let your thoughts drift to the future. What breakthroughs might lie ahead? New materials, new traps, new ways to create and contain antimatter. Perhaps advances in superconducting magnets, in cryogenics, in vacuum technology. Perhaps new discoveries in physics, new ways to coax the universe into yielding its secrets. The path is long, the obstacles many, but the hope of discovery endures. You think of the people who walk this path, the scientists, engineers, and dreamers who devote their lives to the pursuit of knowledge. Their work is slow, often frustrating, marked by setbacks and failures. But each small success is a victory, a step closer to understanding. Their patience is a quiet strength, their curiosity a gentle light in the darkness. You reflect on the lessons learned. The barriers to antimatter technology are not just obstacles. They are teachers, reminders of the limits of nature and the need for humility. They force us to ask hard questions, to weigh the risks and rewards, to consider not just what is possible, but what is wise. You may feel a sense of awe at the complexity of the task. The universe is not easily tamed. Its secrets are guarded by layers of difficulty, by challenges that test the limits of human ingenuity. But in facing these challenges, we grow not just in knowledge, but in wisdom, in patience, in respect for the world we seek to understand. You let your mind wander, following the thread of possibility. You see the laboratories humming with quiet energy, the machines glowing in the darkness. You see the scientists, their faces lit by the soft glow of screens, their eyes bright with hope. You see the particles, born in a flash, caught in a trap, studied with care. It is a dance of persistence and wonder, a story of barriers and breakthroughs. As the night deepens, you feel yourself growing lighter, your thoughts drifting like leaves on a gentle stream. The story of antimatter is not finished. It continues in the experiments of scientists, in the dreams of storytellers, in the quiet curiosity of minds like yours. You are part of this story, a witness to the mystery, a seeker of understanding. And as you drift towards sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that the universe is vast and full of secrets, and that every shadow is shaped by light. In the hush of night, you rest in the space between matter and antimatter, between knowing and not knowing. You are safe here, in the quiet, in the wonder, in the gentle unfolding of the universe's story. And as your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, soft as dawn. If we ever overcome these barriers, what choices will we face? How will we use the power and knowledge that antimatter brings? You find yourself standing at a gentle crossroads, where the path of discovery meets the path of conscience. The air here is still, as if the universe itself is holding its breath, waiting for your next step. The journey through antimatter has brought you to a place not just of knowledge, but of choice. A place where the future is shaped not only by what we can do, but by what we choose to do. You pause, feeling the weight of possibility. The power hidden in antimatter is immense, a force that could change the world in ways both wondrous and dangerous. The questions that rise here are not just scientific, but ethical, moral, deeply human. What does it mean to hold such power? Who decides how it is used? How do we protect what matters most, even as we reach for the stars? You reflect on the lessons of history. Every great discovery has brought with it both promise and peril. The splitting of the atom gave us energy to light cities and weapons to destroy them. The harnessing of electricity transformed the world, but also brought new risks and responsibilities. Each step forward has been a test not just of our ingenuity, but of our wisdom, our compassion, our ability to see beyond ourselves. You think of the scientists who first glimpsed the power of the nucleus, who watched as their discoveries were turned to war. Many were filled with regret, with a sense of responsibility for what followed. They spoke of the need for caution, for international cooperation, for a shared commitment to peace. Their voices echo through time, a gentle reminder that knowledge is never neutral, that every discovery carries with it a duty to care. You let your mind wander to the present, to the laboratories where antimatter is studied, created, and contained. The work is careful, deliberate, guided by strict rules and protocols. Safety is paramount, not just for the scientists, but for the world beyond the laboratory walls. The risks are real, the consequences of failure severe. Each experiment is a balance, a negotiation between curiosity and caution. You consider the frameworks that guide this work, the laws, the regulations, the codes of conduct that shape scientific practice. International agreements govern the use of dangerous materials, the sharing of knowledge, the protection of people and the planet. These rules are not just bureaucratic hurdles. They are expressions of trust, of a shared commitment to the common. Good. You reflect on the role of transparency, of openness in science. Knowledge grows best in the light, where ideas can be tested, challenged, improved. Secrecy breeds suspicion, fear, and misuse. The story of antimatter, like all science, is best told in the open, where its risks and rewards can be weighed by all. You think of the importance of education, of helping people understand not just the facts, but the implications of discovery. An well-informed public is a safeguard against misuse, a partner in the journey of science. The more we know, the better we can choose, the more wisely we can guide the future. You may feel a sense of humility, a gentle awareness of the limits of knowledge. The universe is vast, its mysteries deep. No one person, no one nation can hold all the answers. The challenges of antimatter, like the challenges of climate, of health, of peace, require cooperation, dialogue, a willingness to listen, and learn from one another. You let your thoughts drift to the future, to the choices that lie ahead. If the barriers to antimatter technology are ever overcome, if its power becomes accessible, what will we do? Will we use it to heal, to explore, to create? Or will we repeat the mistakes of the past, letting fear and ambition guide our hand? You imagine a world where the power of antimatter is used wisely, where its energy lights cities, powers spacecraft, heals the sick. You see scientists, engineers, leaders, and citizens working together, guided by a shared sense of responsibility. You see children learning not just the wonders of science, but the values that must guide its use: respect, compassion, stewardship. Reflect on the idea of stewardship, the gentle art of caring for what is precious. The earth, the air, the water, the web of life, all are gifts entrusted to our care. The power of antimatter, like all power, is a trust, a responsibility to be shared and protected. The choices we make today will echo through tomorrow, shaping the world for generations to come. You may feel a sense of hope, a quiet confidence in the ability of humanity to rise to the challenge. The story of science is not just a story of discovery, but of growth, of learning, of becoming wiser, kinder, more connected. Each new challenge is an invitation to become better guardians of the future. You let your mind rest in this thought, feeling the gentle weight of responsibility. The journey through antimatter is a journey through the heart of what it means to be human, to wonder, to seek, to care. The power we hold is matched only by the care we must take in using it. As the night deepens, you feel yourself growing lighter, your thoughts drifting like leaves on a gentle stream. The story of antimatter is not finished. It continues in the experiments of scientists, in the dreams of storytellers, in the quiet curiosity of minds like yours. You are part of this story, a witness to the mystery, a seeker of understanding. And as you drift towards sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that the universe is vast and full of secrets, and that every shadow is shaped by light. In the hush of night, you rest in the space between matter and antimatter, between knowing and not knowing. You are safe here, in the quiet, in the wonder, in the gentle unfolding of the universe's story. And as your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, soft as dawn. Is there a gentler path for antimatter? Can its power be used not for war, but for healing, for discovery, for peace? You find yourself in a place of quiet hope, where the air is soft and full of possibility. The shadows of conflict fade behind you, and ahead lies a landscape shaped by gentler dreams. Here, the story of antimatter is not one of fear or destruction, but of healing, discovery, and the patient unfolding of knowledge. You walk this path slowly, each step a reminder that science, at its heart, is a search for understanding, a way to bring light to the unknown. You begin with medicine, where the power of antimatter is already at work, quietly transforming lives. In hospitals around the world, doctors use a technology called peak positron emission tomography to peer inside the living body. The process is gentle, almost magical. A tiny amount of a radioactive substance, which emits positrons, is introduced into the body. As these positrons meet electrons, they annihilate, releasing pairs of photons that travel in opposite directions. Detectors capture this light, and computers use it to create detailed images of the body's inner workings. You imagine the scene. A patient lies quietly, the scanner humming softly, as invisible particles trace the flow of blood, the growth of cells, the subtle changes that mark health and disease. The images reveal tumors, guide treatments, and help doctors make decisions with care and precision. Here, the meeting of matter and antimatter is not a threat, but a gift, a way to see what was once hidden, to heal what was once beyond reach. Reflect on the beauty of this process, the way it turns the energy of annihilation into a tool for life. The amounts of antimatter used are tiny, measured in billionths of a gram, created in specialized machines and used with great care. Risks are minimal, the benefits profound. Each scan is a quiet triumph, a reminder that even the most powerful forces can be harnessed for good. You let your thoughts drift to the world of research, where antimatter opens new windows into the universe. In laboratories, scientists use positrons and antiprotons to probe the structure of matter, to test the laws of physics, to search for differences between matter and antimatter. These experiments are delicate, precise, and full of wonder. They help us understand why the universe exists, why you are here, why there is something rather than nothing. You think of the great questions that drive this work. Why did matter win over antimatter in the early universe? Are there subtle differences between the two, hidden in the properties of their atoms, their interactions, their decays? Each experiment is a step closer to the answer, a gentle unfolding of the universe's deepest secrets. You imagine the future, where new technologies might arise from these discoveries. Some dream of using antimatter as a source of energy, harnessing the immense power of annihilation to drive spacecraft, to light cities, to transform the world. The challenges are great. The creation, storage, and control of antimatter remain daunting, but the hope endures. The dream of peaceful uses, of science as a guide to a better world, is alive and growing. You reflect on the idea of exploration, of reaching beyond the boundaries of Earth. In the vastness of space, antimatter could one day become a key to the stars. The energy released by matter-antimatter reactions is far greater than that of any chemical or nuclear fuel. A spacecraft powered by antimatter could, in theory, travel to distant planets, even to other stars, opening the universe to human curiosity and adventure. You let yourself imagine such a journey, a ship gliding silently through the darkness, its engines fueled by the meeting of opposites, its path lit by the gentle glow of annihilation. The crew watches as new worlds come into view, as the mysteries of the cosmos unfold before their eyes. The dream is distant, but not impossible, a vision of science as a bridge to the unknown. You think of the ways antimatter could help us understand the universe itself. In the collisions of particles, in the flashes of light from distant galaxies, in the subtle patterns of cosmic rays, antimatter leaves its mark. By studying these traces, scientists learn about the birth of the universe, the nature of dark matter, the forces that shape reality. Each discovery is a step closer to understanding the story of existence. You may feel a sense of gratitude for the gentle uses of antimatter, for the ways it brings healing, insight, and hope. The universe is full of power, but it is also full of possibility. The same forces that can destroy can also create, illuminate, and inspire. The story of antimatter is a reminder that science is not just a tool, but a way of seeing, a way of caring, a way of dreaming. You reflect on the importance of stewardship, of using knowledge with wisdom and compassion. The peaceful uses of antimatter are a testament to the best of human nature, to our desire to heal, to understand, to reach beyond ourselves. Each new discovery is a responsibility, a chance to choose the path of care, of cooperation, of peace. You let your mind rest in this thought, feeling the gentle weight of hope. The journey through antimatter is a journey through the heart of what it means to be human, to wonder, to seek, to care. The power we hold is matched only by the care we must take in using it. As the night deepens, you feel yourself growing lighter, your thoughts drifting like leaves on a gentle stream. The story of antimatter is not finished. It continues in the experiments of scientists, in the dreams of storytellers, in the quiet curiosity of minds like yours. You are part of this story, a witness to the mystery, a seeker of understanding. And as you drift towards sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that the universe is vast and full of secrets, and that every shadow is shaped by light dot in the hush of night. You rest in the space between matter and antimatter, between knowing and not knowing. You are safe here, in the quiet, in the wonder, in the gentle unfolding of the universe's story dot. And as your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, soft as dawn. What comes next for antimatter and for us? How will the story unfold as we move into the quiet, open future? You find yourself in a place where the night is deepest, where the world is hushed, and the air is filled with the soft promise of tomorrow. Here, at the edge of sleep and waking, you rest in the gentle quiet of possibility. The journey through antimatter has brought you far from the first moments of the universe, through the dance of creation and annihilation, through the hopes and fears of science and story. Now you pause, looking forward into the open future, where the story is still being written. You let your mind drift, as if floating among the stars. The questions that have guided you linger in the air, gentle and unresolved. What will become of antimatter? What new discoveries await? How will the choices we make today shape the world of tomorrow? The answers are not yet clear, but the wonder is real, alive, and growing. You think of the scientists, the dreamers, the quiet minds who spend their days and nights searching for answers. In laboratories around the world, they continue to create, trap, and study antimatter, each experiment a step into the unknown. Their work is slow, patient, and full of hope. They know that the universe is vast, that its secrets are not easily revealed, but they persist. Guided by curiosity and the gentle pull of discovery, you imagine the breakthroughs that may come. Perhaps new ways to create antimatter more efficiently and safely. Perhaps advances in storage, in containment, in the gentle art of holding what cannot touch. Perhaps new uses, new technologies, new ways to harness the power of annihilation for good. The future is open, a field of stars waiting to be explored. You reflect on the dreams of exploration, of reaching beyond the boundaries of Earth. Idea of antimatter-powered spacecraft, gliding silently through the darkness, is still distant, but not impossible. Each step forward brings us closer to the stars, to the mysteries that lie beyond the horizon. The journey will be long, the challenges many, but the hope endures. You let your thoughts wander to the world of medicine, where antimatter already brings healing and insight. Perhaps new treatments will be discovered, new ways to see and understand the body, new tools for caring and curing. The gentle meeting of matter and antimatter, once a symbol of destruction, becomes a source of life, of hope, of possibility. You consider the questions that remain. Why did the universe choose matter over antimatter? Are there hidden symmetries, subtle differences, secrets still waiting to be found? The search continues in the collisions of particles, in the patterns of cosmic rays, in the quiet hum of detectors. Each experiment is a question, a hope, a step closer to understanding. You think of the responsibilities that come with knowledge. The power of antimatter is immense, but so is the need for wisdom, for care, for stewardship. The choices we make, how we use, share, and protect this knowledge will shape the world for generations to come. The story of antimatter is not just a story of science, but of humanity, of our ability to dream, to wonder, to care. You may feel a sense of humility, a gentle awareness of your place in the unfolding story. The universe is vast, its mysteries deep, but you are part of it, a witness, a participant, a guardian of the future. Your curiosity, your questions, your hopes are threads in the tapestry of discovery, woven into the fabric of time. You let yourself rest in this thought, feeling the quiet weight of possibility. The journey through antimatter is a journey through the heart of what it means to be human, to seek, to learn, to imagine. The future is not fixed, but open, shaped by the choices we make, the dreams we dare to follow. You imagine a world where the power of antimatter is used wisely, where its energy lights cities, powers ships, heals the sick, and reveals the secrets of the cosmos. You see scientists and citizens working together, guided by a shared sense of responsibility and hope. You see children learning not just the wonders of science, but the values that must guide its use: respect, compassion, stewardship. You reflect on the gentle strength of curiosity, the way it leads us forward, step by step, into the unknown. The story of antimatter is a reminder that every answer brings new questions, that the journey of discovery is never truly finished. Each day, each night, is an invitation to wonder, to dream, to reach beyond the limits of what is known. As the night deepens, you feel yourself growing lighter, your thoughts drifting like leaves on a gentle stream. The story of antimatter is not finished. It continues in the experiments of scientists, in the dreams of storytellers, in the quiet curiosity of minds like yours. You are part of this story, a witness to the mystery, a seeker of understanding. And as you drift towards sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that the universe is vast and full of secrets, and that every shadow is shaped by light. In the hush of night, you rest in the space between matter and antimatter, between knowing and not knowing. You are safe here, in the quiet, in the wonder, in the gentle unfolding of the universe's story. And as your breath grows slow and deep, you sense the next question rising, soft as dawn. What other mysteries wake in the quiet? What stories will you dream as the universe whispers you into sleep? The journey of antimatter ends for now, but the gentle invitation to wonder, to seek, and to dream will always remain, waiting for you in the quiet of the night. As our journey through antimatter comes to a gentle close, you find yourself wrapped in a soft, quiet comfort. The questions and wonders of the universe settle around you like a warm blanket, their edges gentle, their mysteries no longer urgent, but soothing like the hush of a distant tide. You have traveled far tonight across the birth of stars, through the dance of opposites, into the heart of discovery and the gentle light of hope. Each chapter has been a step, a breath, a moment of wonder. Now you rest in the gentle certainty that curiosity is its own kind of peace, and that the universe, in all its vastness, is a place of both questions and calm. Let your breath slow, your body grow heavy, and your mind float free. The world outside is quiet, the night deep and kind. The stories you have heard are seeds, planted softly in your imagination, ready to bloom in dreams or in waking wonder. Remember, you are part of this great unfolding, a witness to the beauty of science, a keeper of gentle questions, a dreamer among the stars. The universe is not in a hurry, and neither are you. There is time to wonder, to rest, to simply be. If you've enjoyed this peaceful journey with the sleepy knowledge, a gentle like or a quiet tap on the subscribe button would mean so much. It helps keep this little corner of the universe warm, welcoming and full of wonder for curious minds everywhere. And if you'd like to share where in the world you're listening from, or what you're dreaming of tonight, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. As you drift towards sleep, let the gentle rhythm of your breath carry you. Let the quiet of the night hold you safe. The story of antimatter, and of all things, continues softly, patiently, always inviting you to listen, to dream, to return. Good night, gentle mind. May your dreams be filled with light, and may the quiet curiosity of the universe guide you softly into tomorrow.